Well, welcome to PJNet.TV. I'm Coach Prasick, and tonight, a special pre-recorded edition. It's I don't know exactly how you tie down Michelle Medlock Adams. I mean, I think if you nailed her shoe to the floor, I think she'd just spin around in circles like that, you know. But we have two guests. We are pre-recording this. It's daytime, and my dog is incorrigible. So my dog is part of the program tonight. But gosh, it has been a while since we visited with Michelle Medlock Adams. But she has made arrangements in her busy day to get us caught up to date. And I don't remember the last time we talked to Michelle, but it's sure been a while. But I know I'm curious to know about your involvement with Victoria Duerstock and In-Game Press, because that is a big deal.
It has been such a blessing in my life. You know, I thought I would hit 50 and maybe slow down, and God said just the opposite. So we are traveling all over this world. In fact, I go to Italy in March to the International Children's Book Show in Bologna with her and with In-Game Press. I had my own imprint. I think I shared that with y'all last time we talked. It's called Wren Bear Books, named after my oldest grandchild from each of my daughters. And my first book from that comes out next month for Earth Day. We're so excited. It's called I Made the Earth. So that was already happening. But, you know, I've always traveled and taught at writers' conferences. And then I speak at women's conferences and teach the Word of God. So that's still continuing, but just not as much on the writers' conference thing. I'll only do one of those this year. But we do a lot of trade shows. So we go to like the Christian Product Expo. There's one coming up in February in Georgia, and there's one every summer. And this year it's going to be in Lexington, Kentucky, which is where the oldest daughter and my 4 grandkids live. So I love that. And then we do like the Children's Pastors Conference, which was last month in Orlando. We were there and we sold out of almost all of our titles. It was such an exciting week. And like I said, we're going to Italy in March. So we have something every month but one. Our first in-person in-game conference is in June with writers. We're going to have our own writers conference. We're going to do these virtual ones, one-day ones, to teach writers and train them, not just our authors, but anybody who wants to attend. We just had one last Saturday for marketing, teaching people how to market their products once they're out. So it's busy. It's been a great, crazy ride, but I'm loving it. Every day, she and I text because we're such good friends, and she said her yearly word, you know how God will give you a word? Her word has been go for like 3 years. And I'm like, was there a break anytime in that? Or is it just pedal to the metal? And so far it's been pedal to the metal. So I'm glad I'm taking lots of vitamins so I can be there and help.
Well, Michelle, in the time we've spent together, I know that you're one of the ones who is embracing the word, you know, for the year. And that's never been my thing, Michelle. I mean, one time you kind of put me on the spot and I just had to make something up. But for the first time in my life, God has given me a word for this year. Okay. It's actually, it could be two, but it is directly tied to the account of the 2 fishes and 5 loaves in the Bible. And the word is servitude, servant, you know, but along with that, offering. I mean, it's the same thing. And God has really spoken to me in a powerful way, and that is what I am committed to in this year and future years. I mean, it's not something you do for, you know, a year. It's something that should be a part of our Christian lifestyle and our Christian testimony. But I'm just going to offer myself and not worry about marketing per se. You know, if somebody wants something that I have to offer, I'm just going to offer it. And I'm just going to trust God that He will bless it and multiply it in a meaningful way. But we're not here to talk about me. I am curious.
I love that. That's awesome. That's an awesome word. I love that.
Well, it's just, it's one of those things you can't shake. You know, not that I want to, but it just dominates my thoughts, is how, you know, every Christian has a giftedness of some kind. And so many Christians think, well, I don't have anything to offer. Well, what if that little boy would have had those thoughts? God, offer your 2 fishes and 5 loaves. Anyway, I am completely taking over the program.
I
Uh,
love that though. That's a good word, Coach. I that'll preach. That's good.
I, when we first met, you were and are a prolific writer, and writing is a gift. I know so because I don't have it. Okay, so it must be a gift, and you have done so well. Your track record is your resume is, well, more of a dossier, the list of your writing accomplishments. But you have transitioned. I've noticed two things. One, what you just said. You're now involved with in-game press, helping other writers make their dreams come true. That's an amazing transition. But the other transition I've noticed is a little bit more subtle. Am I right? Or am I just making this up? But it seems like your recent works have been in tandem with a co-author. And if that's the
Yes.
case, I thought, Michelle, that's a way of just sharing what God has blessed you so richly, your talents and your giftedness. But you are now reaching out to others as co-authors who now get a chance. You're sharing the stage with them. I really respect that, Michelle.
Thank you for saying that. That makes me want to cry. Yeah, you know, I just taught a workshop on co-authoring and kind of the art of being a co-author and how it's not something that's easy, especially if you've kind of been in control of things your whole life.
Hmm.
It's a real humbling experience, but if you go into it with the right heart and you know that God's called you to do that, you can not only become better friends with the person you're writing with, but you can become a much better writer as you learn from your co-author and as you grow together in whatever you're taking on. So yeah, you're right. I've had quite a few co-authored projects in the past 3 years. I've got a couple more coming up this year. I'm only doing one book by myself, and that comes out this spring, and it's called Love Connects Us All. Maybe we can do a program about that sometime. It's a sweet little children's book about a sense of belonging and what a family is, and that we're all, whether your family looks like my family, it doesn't matter. You're still a family because love connects us all, and that we're all part of God's family. It's just a really sweet book, especially for adoptive or foster families. But the book I co-authored this year with Cecil Stokes, so you've had Cecil and Boone on before, is called You Are My Dream Come True. And it's one of my first Wren Bear releases. I'm so proud of this book. We've got this beautiful artwork being done right now. Actually, Cecil found the artist, and I didn't think we had any shot at attaining her because I know she works for really big publishers, and I'm sure she makes a lot of money for each project. And we just had two little fishes to offer, pretty much. And so I reached out and just kind of said, look, we think you're the one to do this book. It is a heart project. It's a wonderful book about foster care, not specifically foster care, but Cecil and Boone's story. He felt led to adopt Boone at he was only 7. Now he's a teenager, and I'm his Aunt Michelle. I love that little boy, but it's just about how he never had a dad. So the very last line of the book is "You are my dad come true." It's just the most precious book. It's really a day in the life of their life, but it could be good for any parent and child. There's not that many dad-child books, so I love that the dad is the focus in this. So I'm the with on that one, but we get to tell that story. And then I've got a book coming out with Andy Clapp, and it's the Christmas devotional, and we are so excited about this book, and that's pretty fun. We had a great time. We each did 20 devotions. It's going to be 40 days to take you up through the Christmas season. Both he and I are Christmas crazy, so we had the best time writing that book. And anytime you get to do any project with Andy, it's just a privilege and an honor. This will be my second book with him, and I hope we get to do 100 more. But you're right. I mean, one of the books I did that just came out this past fall is Fly High. This one right here I happen to have. I don't know if it'll be backwards, but this is Fly High. And this is the one I did with Jan Johnson, and she's a grief specialist. So God joined us together for this book because she had the letters after her name and had written really extensively about how to get through grief. And she was a counselor.
Hmm.
And she came to me one day at a conference. She said, I feel like God is calling me to write this book for children about grief, but I'm not a children's writer. And God had been
Hmm.
dealing with me about writing about grief, and I'm not an expert in that. And so it was just like, I just immediately knew that I didn't have to pray about it. It was like, I knew that was what God had been wanting me to do because we had just lost my brother-in-law to COVID. And I was just like, there wasn't really a book I could find that addressed all the things I wanted to say to the kids in our church who were really missing their pastor. And I was missing my my brother-in-law and my pastor. So
Mm-hmm.
this book is, and we are just seeing phenomenal things come because of the collaboration that Jan and I did. So I think when you co-author with somebody, it's just the beauty of each other's giftings, and then they merge together and create this project that I could never have done on my own. So it's such a cool experience. I'm so honored I get to work with so many amazing people.
Well, it's been said that the total is greater than the sum of the parts. And so I kind of get the sense that the way these things happen, or here's how I don't think it happens. I think my dog wants to visit now. Yeah, go lay down.
Hello, Doc.
Now he's going to go over there where I wanted him 20 minutes ago. Okay.
They have a mind of their own, don't they?
There is a bed here in the Eagle's Nest broadcast studios because I take naps. But he gets on my pillow. That's where he is. Here's how I don't think it happens. I don't think that, and I hope you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that you get this inspiration for a book that you want to write with a co-author and then start taking resumes, scanning the horizon to recruit a co-author. I think instead, these things are just organically given birth in your relationships that you've developed, professional relationships that have become personal, I guess, that then become professional and personal. So which model is it? Is it strategic recruiting, or is it organic, God-breathing type thing?
Definitely the latter. I've never been recruited to, in fact, when I've been asked to do the co-author role, I always check with God first, because I know that those can end up being a big nightmare. I've seen it happen for some friends of mine. I've never had the situation, but I don't ever want to have it. So I really am pretty picky about my co-authors. I have to know that it's a God thing, because if it is, then I know it's going to be an amazing experience. Because listen, when you co-author with somebody, it's not always easy. They're going to come to situations where maybe you don't have the exact same belief about something. For instance, Bethany and I, we've shared this story before. When we wrote our They Call Me Mom and Platinum Faith, we did those at the same time, and she's one of my very best friends. And so, we were friends before we ever took on anything together in writing. But she was raised in the Christian church like my husband, and I was raised in the Free Methodist church, although I've written and spoken in lots of different churches and denominations. But there was one particular aspect that we had never discussed, apparently, about our faith. And it really didn't need to be in the book, part of it, but I felt really strongly about putting it in my chapter, and she didn't really want it in the book. And I said, gosh, I really think it needs to be in there. And I told her why, and then she told me why she didn't think it should be in the book. So we didn't get angry, but we did get a little sassy with each other. And me being the older sister kind, I was like, well, listen, you got to trust me on this. I feel like I can know what I'm doing. And she's like, I just can't have my name in this book if we put this particular part of your faith in there. I'm like, well, I'll put it in my chapter. It doesn't be in the back of the book, and then you don't have to claim ownership of it. But this is how I believe, and I really feel like it has to be in the chapter. And it was just the prayer of salvation is what it was. And she just didn't want to have that in there, because in the Christian church, my husband was raised like that. You have to be immediately baptized once you actually give your heart to God. It's the way I was raised. It is an outward showing of an inward work. I feel like if you don't get baptized, you're still going to go to heaven. So it's just a minor thing. I think everybody should be baptized, but it was a major thing whether we put this in the book or the way we put it in. So we had to actually take a couple days and have cooler minds and just, realize that at the end of the day, our friendship's more important than anything we would do together. And that's exactly what we decided. And we came to an agreement how we were going to handle it. And it was probably the best way to do it. And so I think you have to know going into it, even if you're the best of friends like Bethany and I, there are going to be some things come up that you had never anticipated. We're so much alike in so many ways, but that was a discussion we never had. And actually, because of that, our friendship became deeper, because we were able to talk through some things, and I got to know her even on a different level. So you have to look at every situation like that. Dell Didway and I, we did that Heart of a Hoosier book, and it was so fun. But Dell and I work very, very differently. Dell will be 97 pages ahead, and his deadline's not until like next year.
Yeah,
he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and even though I do sometimes 6 books a year, I have all these other responsibilities too at Endgame, and so and even before that it was Platinum Literary. So I have I do my workday like I have a stove, right? And whatever's on the front burner, that's what gets my attention. But if it's
Hmm.
not going to be due right away, then it's on the back burner, and I might not even look at it for a couple of weeks. And that he's already looked at it, edited it, and ready to go forward. And I'm like, don't call me again. Don't text me. Don't message me. When I get those chapters, then I will message you. And he would just get tickled because he likes to aggravate me. But I had to have a real discussion. I'm like, I promise you, we're not going to miss the deadline. I will hit this deadline, but I can't work on that right now. So, anyway, you just have to know, you have to give each other grace, and you have to know that you're going to have some issues sometimes, but that at the end of the day, you're going to become a better person and a better writer, and the product, whatever you're writing, will be better and richer because of the collaboration. But it's a wonderful gift to be able to co-write with somebody. I love it.
Well, I get the impression that co-authored books, the initiative is from the author, who then finds, by whatever means, a co-author, as opposed to someone would like to be a co-author and needs to find an author. I mean, and I think that describes the situation you mentioned earlier. Yes, you got to be careful if people approach you to co-author a book that you're going to take the lead on. It's I I I get it. I don't have the words to say it politely, so I'll just leave it there.
Yeah,
We're all
and that could be
we're
a
all
distraction. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, somebody wants to ride your shirt coattails, so to speak. And that initiative needs to come from you, not from them. But you are obediently and faithfully compliant with that principle, and I think it's very not only noteworthy, it's very admirable that
Well, thank
you share, and that's in so many ways, and that's only one. But we're almost out of time. We probably won't get together again for a month. And tell me, look forward, and tell me what's on your schedule. Well, no, we only got 2 minutes, so we can't go. But what direction is God taking you in the next month before we get together again?
Well, I'll be headed to Columbus, Georgia for the Christian Product Expo. That's taking place in the first week of February. And then I'll be teaching at Taylor University, writing for children.
Hmm.
I do a semester about every other year. And my first class for that is the second Saturday in February. So I'm excited to meet my students. And I just spend all day with them. It is the most fun. It's like I get to hang out with these college kids who are so passionate about writing for kids. And some of my best writers, like Megan Alms, she was in my class, and her first children's book comes out this year. I just got to share it on my Facebook page. I'm so excited. So these kids are amazing. I learned from them.
Well, quite the disciple you are. I mean, it must be satisfying to take in somebody, a student, a college student, and then see their progress and see them grow. And when that book comes out, it must be like, yeah, I had a hand in that.
She's so sweet. She actually said, I shared it. I said, I already pre-ordered my copy. And she said, I could have done without you, which is not true. She absolutely could have. She's very
Uh-huh.
gifted. But it made my heart so happy that I got to be a part of her journey, because she's an amazing young woman, and very talented. And she's even ghostwritten for me, Coach. There was a project I couldn't finish. I was due to Bear and what was going on with him at the time. And
Yeah.
I trusted her enough. She ghostwrote for me. She's amazing.
Wow.
I like her.
Wow.
You'll
And
have to have her on.
please send her our way. And well, Michelle, gosh, has been great getting caught up. I don't think 20 minutes is long enough to catch up, because I have often, when your name comes up in conversation, and it does, I always characterize you as the octopus on roller skates. I don't know how, but you get there, and but I'm more like Dell, like focus on the
Yeah.
break the big task down into smaller tasks. Focus on each of the smaller tasks. When you get done, you got it. But I don't multitask very well, and I and that's a gift. I mean, because focus is important. I mean, I was up until
Yeah.
7 o'clock this morning working on a project because I get so
Focus is my
focused on.
word. Interesting. That is my word
Really,
for the year, is focus. Yes, because
really.
I need to grow in this area. So be praying for me.
Well, um, I like you the way you are, but yeah, focus probably would be something that could be developed in your way of doing things. But Michelle, thank you for taking the time out to do this. I know it's tough. I mean, you are booked, and gosh, so am I sometimes. But we pulled it off. We pulled it off this time, and we look forward to seeing you next month. But thank you for sharing, not only here, but in your professional life, in co-authoring, your work within game. You are focused on sharing, and we so appreciate and love you for it. And it's inspiring to hear it from you.
Thanks so much.
All
Love you guys.
All right. There you have. Yeah, we did it. Michelle Medlock Adams. And for a while, my dog Riley. But he's over there sleeping now. Folks, before we leave, I can't help but challenge you in the way that I challenge myself. And it's by asking myself these two questions. The first question goes like this. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done in the kingdom of Christ? And then the second question is, how long ago was that? And when you put them together, the challenge is to never be satisfied with either answer.